Okay, hello. So this is a tutorial on tagging for the fuel map project using QGIS and the aerial image that we have at Stan State. So I'm going to follow through kind of this tutorial, but I think it's just more useful for me to have a video of this instead of the little, static text tutorial. So that's why I'm demonstrating this on video. Okay. Well, first thing you need to do is download QGIS, and there's a website here, right? So if you go to, well, actually, I was already there already. Okay. And what you'll find is that if you go to the download page or whatever it is, right? What you want to do is actually download what's known as the LTR. This stands for long-term release. So it's just more of a more stable release versus RC, which is, I don't know, something release candidate. Yeah. So that's more of a beta version. So you go to this little download link, right? And then, you want to click on this link where it says look for the most stable version, right? And then you can close this message where they're asking for donation. And then that actually starts downloading, okay? And that's going to take about, well, the software itself the download is about 1.2 gigabyte, and then when you install it, it takes about another 5 gigabyte. Okay, so once that's downloaded, so I think the LTR right now is 3.34. I think the version I have, let's see, if I start it up again, QGIS, is 3.28. I think all the menus are very similar. In fact, I probably customized the menu in the way that it may not be exactly the same way where the default will have it. So you can see that on top of here. You can even go to the version number, right? 3.28. But the one you download is whatever is the LTR version. It doesn't actually matter too much. Okay. To do the tutorial, in order for you to tag maps, you have to first download the maps. To download the maps, what you can do is just go to the link that I have in the fuel map channel. So it's a share link. I think I should set it so that it requires a password, but I think for now it doesn't even require a password, so I should change that password. Where is just a bunch of the fuel map data file. So what you want to do if it's the first time out is there's a clip version of this, meaning it's a small map, and that way you can focus on what you need. Let's see. Let me just open it on my end so I know which map to tell you to use. So if I can make this a little wider. No? Okay. All right. Let me go to QGIS. I'm going to pause real quick just so I can figure this out. Okay. So when you once you download QGIS and have it installed, when you open it, it may not look like this because I have other projects open. But what you want to do is actually start a new project. Okay, when you start a new project, you just get a blank screen like this. Okay, when you have a new project, what you want to do is actually download the maps that you need in order to look at it. So I think previously I already showed you how to access the OneDrive, which is on the fuel map channel. So you just click on this, right? And then the map you actually want to use is, hopefully it's the right one, is 3711955. So that indicates like the map number. And there's also like a northwest, southeast, northeast, southeast sections of the map. So each map is actually divided into 4 also, just to make the file easier to handle. And I'm pretty sure it is this one where it's 3711955 northwest. So you want to download this map. Okay, save it somewhere where you know where it is. Okay, so after you download it, so it's about 150 megabytes, so it's not too bad. Okay, what you want to do is go back to GIS, QGIS, go to layer, okay, add layer, and then add this raster layer. So the screen pops up in the wrong place. Okay, when you add a raster layer, this little window pops up. Okay, and what you want to do is find that file you just downloaded. So mine is actually on my OneDrive, so yours will not be in the same place. So just make sure. But you want to open 3711955 Northwest. Okay, these underscore 11 is the resolution, and then underscore 100 I think is like a time issue. Okay. So once you have that, you should be able to just click on add. Okay. When you add, this pops up right behind you. Okay. Close out the window. Okay. So it should have this little kind of dumbbell shaped thing here. That's actually a lake. So that's why they blacked that out, because we actually don't really care too much about lakes because it's not going to be on fire. Okay. What you want to start tag when you, if this is your first time tagging, what you actually want to do is tag this neighborhood here. Okay, so if you zoom into the lower right corner here, around here, okay, this little neighborhood here. This is a really nice area to learn how to tag because, right, it has houses, it has some roads, it has some green trees, it has some dead trees, it has some grass area, and it has some dead grass area. So it has all these different categories for you to tag so that you know, is a good place to start learning. Okay, so so you want to start tagging this. In order to tag stuff, you have to actually create what's known as a vector layer as opposed to this raster layer. So raster layers are like every point is one dot, where a vector layer, you can actually draw shapes on top of this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a layer, create a layer. Okay, I'm going to create a new shape file layer. Okay. Once that happens, you have this little pop-up window. Okay. And what you want to do is you want to name this file. And what I'm going to insist everyone do is that you're going to name it exactly as the raster file. So you can see that I'm typing in exactly the same one, 3711955 Northwest underscore 11 underscore 00. All these stuff in there has information in it. That's why it's important to keep the same thing. And what you want to do is actually put who's tagging it. So since it's me, it's going to be WTO, right? Tag, right? And then maybe even the month you're tagging it. So this is going to be March 24, okay, of 2024. Usually you don't have to do the date because you're going to probably tag multiple times on the same file on multiple days. Okay. So the encoding, you should just leave that alone. And then the geometry type is going to be polygon because we're going to be drawing a bunch of shapes on here. Okay. Should not need additional dimensions. Okay. And then this here basically tells you what type of coordinate reference system. The CRS stands for coordinate reference system. What you want to do is you want to go to what's known as the project CRS. So the project, because you loaded a raster, that project has a particular coordinate reference system already. So what you want to do is actually use the same one as what you have on the raster. So that's what you have. You shouldn't need to add any new fields because it already comes with a field of ID integer with a length 10. So we shouldn't need to add anything to that. Okay, and that's what we're going to tag with. Okay, after this, you click OK, and that file is going to appear in your layers box. So this may be in a different place for you. Okay, so notice that I just added WTO tag underscore March of 2024 there. Okay, so after this file, right, you click, so when you click on this, it actually switches. You can see that it switches the menu on top. Okay, so because when you're working with a raster, it has certain functionality, but if you're working with a vector layer, it actually has a different functionality. Okay, so what you want to do is click on this little edit button here. Okay, and when you click on this edit button, now new things comes up, and we're just going to be drawing some polygons around here. Okay, right? These polygons are going to be what we're going to be tagging. So around this neighborhood, the first thing you probably notice are the houses. Okay, so the houses are considered non-burnable. Okay, that's going to be category 1. Okay, so let's just try to bracket off this little barn here. Okay, so you click on this little polygon shape, and then if you click here on it, you start seeing little red lines, and then actually make a little shape around it. Okay, and that'll highlight all of that stuff. And when you're done with your shape, right? Notice that now I have this entire like a barn or something like that. Highlight, select it, right? I right click, a little window should pop up and say, what ID is this? Okay, well, since this is a non-burnable, I'm going to put 1 as an unburnable. Okay. Okay. In fact, this whole parking lot is going to be considered unburnables. So what I would do is actually even tag the parking lot because they're basically considered the same category. Okay, I'm going to try to stay away from this little grassy dirt area. Okay. I can make a weird shape like this. Just follow the contour around. Right, this is probably some dirt on the parking lot, so that's okay. I'm just going to wrap up like this, okay? And then once again, I right click to end my boxing, right? And then I put, since this is unburnable, I put 1. Okay, so now, right, that's how you tag houses. So what you want to do is, not just tag one house, tag most of these houses towards the end, but don't do that initially. So let me go to the little hand tool so you can pan around, right? Don't do that initially. What you want to do, so this is probably like maybe like 100, maybe even more, like 200-300 pixel already tagged. What you want to do is actually tag like couple of hundred of each type of pixel first, and then go to the machine learning algorithm, which is what I'm going to make another video for, and run that. Just make sure you're tagging things correctly. And then once you run that and it is correct, right, then you can move on and tag the same way with more pixels. But if it's not correct, then there may be something wrong with a particular pixel type that you're tagging, and you can actually correct that instead of, tagging, like spending 10 hours tagging something and just figuring out, oh, I've been tagging trees wrong all this time. All right, so with that note, okay, I'm just going to tag this one house, one barn, and then the parking lot in front of it. What I'm going to do is, well, I see these green trees here, right? I want to tag these green trees because I see it right in front of me. So let's see. So green tree should be classified as, I think that's number 2, right? Oh, green grass is number 2. Well, number 4 is green trees. So those are going to be 4s. Okay. So I'm going to tag, and green trees are like, little circular, puffy, I mean, not necessarily circular, these puffy mushroom shaped stuff, right? So what you want to do is actually tag this tree, okay? But notice there's some shadows around here, right? It's really hard to tell whether or not what's underneath the shadow. Is it more trees, or is it like a grass knoll or just dry ground underneath it, okay? This is where adding this functionality of what's known as NDVI is useful. NDVI stands for the normalized vegetation index. Wait, there's a D there also. Well, I'll figure out what the D means. You can also look that up. So what we want to do is we're going to do a little calculations with this raster. Okay, we're going to select this. Okay, what we're going to do is click on this little raster menu and do, let's see, conversion, no, extraction, and miscellaneous, no, project, oh, analysis, of course. No, oh, raster calculator. There was the first thing on top. Okay, when you do that, you just get this little menu pop up. So this here actually represents the 4 different wavelengths that the data have. I think 1 is the red, 2 is the green, and then 3 is the blue color, and 4 is actually the infrared band. So for NDVI, the equation is actually the infrared minus the red, all divided by the sum of infrared plus the red. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this little function. I'm going to put a parentheses in front of here first, so because we're going to be doing a fraction. Okay, double click on this, so you notice that this pops this down here. Okay, I'm going to subtract that with the red. So 4 is the infrared, 1 is the red. Okay, so I'm taking the difference between the infrared and the red. Close that parentheses, divide. Okay, instead of double clicking stuff up there, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy and paste this because I'm going to add the 2 on the denominator instead, right? That's the normalization. So when you have this, right, what you can see is then we're going to create a new layer with this. Okay, so I'm going to browse. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to name it the same name. Oops. Okay, sorry. So I'm going to type in exactly the same name, XIP underscore M 3711955 Northwest underscore 11100. Instead of, the tag name, right? This is actually the NDVI. Okay. And that way we indicate that it's actually NDVI. The format you want is GeoTIFF still. You want to make sure that the output layer, right, is actually whatever the project CRS is, just as you did with the shapefile. Okay. And then to add results to the project. Okay, hopefully this works. Okay, so it's going to do a little calculation. Take a little sip of tea. So that calculation just complete, and now you notice that it turns this whole image into a black and white image. Okay, it didn't change the color. So if we click on here, actually, we have to uncheck this one. We still see the color image, right? By checking and unchecking, you're showing the NDVI or not, right? You can even do the same thing with the other ones, right? You can check and check this stuff. Okay. Okay, so what happened is that, well, now what this NDVI is indicating is that you can notice that, well, this green tree part, right, this very white, and then the non-tree part are dark. What I actually prefer is that I actually prefer that it's flipped upside down. So what you can do is that you can click on this and then right click and click on properties. Okay, when you click on properties, another thing pops, this little symbology window pops up, right? Instead of having it go from black to white, I like it to be white to black, because those look a little bit more like little lumps of trees to me instead of the reverse. Okay. So if we flip back and forth between NDVI and not NDVI, now it's kind of easier to see, oh, what's between the shadow? I'm going to zoom in pretty close here, right? Where we can even see the pixelation here, right? So you can see that, on NDVI, the dark spot is still here. That means this is still vegetation. But if we click out of this, right, it just looks like darkness, okay? So when I tag trees, what I do is I actually look at where the green stuff is first. Okay, so the green stuff is around here. Okay, I'm going to try to tag these two trees together. I think this is a tree, this is a tree, there's some shadow between the two. Okay, I'm going to hop over to NDVI. Okay, then I'm going to do my little polygon thing. So in order to get there, I have to get to my shapefile, which is up here, a little polygon thing. Okay, and I'm going to outline the part where the trees are, which is where the vegetation is. Okay, it's going to follow this contour of little boxes, right? This is a very light part, but we can just say that that's part of the tree also. Okay. Let's go over here. Let's tag this one, but not this one. Okay, you can even go diagonally. Okay. Right, but you do want to kind of make sure that, if you know a pixel is not part of the tree, you get rid of that. Okay. I'm highlighting this whole patch of tree. Okay. And the more accurate you do this, the better the neural network is going to perform. Okay, I'm going to go back all the way over here. I think this is actually part of the tree also. So I'm going to go back and highlight that part also. I'm going to get this little pixel right here. Okay, I'm going to go around here. Go around here. Okay. And I would say like maybe, this is probably maybe not be part of the tree. So I'm just going to go down here and say the tree kind of ends here. Okay. Once I've done that, right, I right click again, and tree is number 4. Therefore, I put that. And then after I do that, I basically check and uncheck the NDVI, oops, to make sure that this picture is still okay. Right now we have 3 layers to kind of flip back and forth, okay? Right, so that this is probably not tree, right? This is just the ground underneath, and this is actually the tree part. This is sort of neat, okay? Right, right. So that's how you tag trees, okay? Right. So I think one of the categories is green grass, right? So let's find some green grass to tag. So, this is where this area is really nice, right? So if I go to my little hand, right, there's a little patch of grass right here, right next to this house. It's probably someone's lawn. Okay, so we can do is, once again, if we actually check on NDVI, right, you can see that, the tree part is kind of like, so like the road, right, is completely white, and then grass is like halfway between the two, right? It's not tree dark, but then it's not road white. Okay, so we're going to tag this this little area here. So go back to my vector layer, click my polygon thing, okay, and click on this. I'm just going to box most of this. I'm going to try to stay away from these dark area because those are probably either shadow or some tree, making shadows, okay? So I'm going to go around this little meadow here, right? Go around, you can even go diagonally down here, right? The meadow kind of ends right here. Then go back up. There's these little yellowish part that might be just some dry grass, so I'm going to stay away from that because that's actually a different category. I'm going to stay away from this white stuff. It's probably someone's, patio or something like that. So let's go along here until we get to here. Okay, and I think that's good enough. So green grass was 2, so I tagged that as 2. Oh, by the way, let me just show you this. Okay, so notice that even though we tag these things, we don't know what they are. What you can do is actually get QGIS to show you that. So if you right click on the vector layer and click on properties, okay, a little window pops up like this. Right now there's no labels. Okay, we can put a single label there and just make it the ID because we've been tagging the ID. Okay, if you click apply, I think it should come up. So this was tag as 1, this was tag as 4, this was tag as 2, right? And that actually even tells you what we tagged. So now let's find some little grass to tag, because number 3 is dry grass. So this is probably kind of a mixture of dry grass and like trees that's dead. Okay, so I would tag this as dead trees and this part as dry grass. Okay, all right, so I'm going to tag actually a pretty small patch. So let's do that. But I still have my thing highlighted, and then so just tag this little dry patch. And you can make these as big and small as, well, making them small is nice because then you're picking up specific things, right? And then, I think this is also dry grass, so I'm going to tag this also, okay? Right, and then make that 3, right? Oh, I forgot the area between. You can just add this. Okay, it's actually okay to overlay them because what's going to happen is that the algorithm is actually going to just say, oh, this is 3, so you tag it twice as 3. That's okay. But if you tag them with a different number, that's going to be very confusing. Okay. So what I'm going to do is tag this part as dead trees. Okay. So I'm just going to tag only the darker part. So this is, I don't even know. I'm actually not sure what this is about. Right. In fact, what I'm going to show you is we're going to show you how to look at this in a different perspective also. Okay. So what you can do is add a different layer to this, where it's a different map, not the one you just downloaded from OneDrive. You can add Google Map to it. So let me just show you what that looks like. Oops. All right, not Google Map, Google Satellite. That's what we want. Let me if you made a mistake and add a map that you didn't want, you can just right click on it and say remove layer like this. Okay. But Google Satellite looks like this. Okay. So you flip back and forth, you flip Google Satellite on and off, right? You can actually tell what that's about. So you notice that, wait, Google Satellite showed all this green stuff here. What happened to all that green stuff? What happened is probably these plant trees died, right? And it just became this, kind of this slash area, this area. It's known as slash, where it's just a bunch of dead trees laying on the ground. Okay. So Google Satellite is not updated. Well, it's not going to be the same time. The photo is not taken at the same time as what the data we have. So the terrain will change a little bit. Okay. Right. So how do we add this Google Satellite thing? What we can do is we can, when you don't have this connection yet, what you want to do is click on XYZ layer and just click on add new connection. So basically, it's just going to download the stuff for you. Okay. I'm going to edit the connection so you can actually see the website. Okay. So what you want to do is, well, this is actually google.china. Interesting. So what you want to do is just name it Google Satellite and then put in the URL. Okay. And I'll make sure that's on the notes. And doesn't require any authentication. If the max and min zoom level is not correct, you can change that from 0 to 19. But that's how you add these connections, by just naming this and then putting in the URL for it to download. Okay. So hopefully that's correct. I'm just wondering, this at years equals to 1819, that mean anything? But okay, so this will be a link that's available to you. Okay, so you don't have to watch this video to type this out. Okay, so that allows you to have a little Google Satellite view. Google, I think these are aerial images actually. Okay. The other one is called Esri, which is run by ArcGIS. Similarly, you click on this little tile, add connection, right? Instead of calling it Google Satellite, you just call it Esri, and then it's this server here. Okay, it's just a different URL. Okay. In fact, I'm going to double click on it and show you what that looks like. Okay. So see, Esri is, it has this little empty patch here, so it's probably much more updated. Okay. So I think, these are probably just like dead trees laying on the ground, and then you have this kind of grass, dry grass area, which is what we just tagged. Okay. So I'm going to tag these as dead trees, even though they are not the dead trees we're targeting, but they will burn in a similar way. Okay, so if I'm going to go back to my shape layer, I'm going to tag just this little sliver here, right, as dead trees. And dead trees, I think, is 5. Okay. But what I'm going to do is show you the dead trees that we're actually very interested in. Is these brownish pine trees. Okay, these are dead pine trees that's been infected by the bark beetles, and these are the ones that's going to change how fast these forests will burn. Okay, you can see some over here too. Let's see, there's some over here. This is probably the easiest spot to start, right? You have a clump of just dead pine trees here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, right, is once again I'm going to jump back and forth between NDVI and the color, right? So the dead trees is also, since they're dead, they're no longer vegetation, so that's why they show up whiter on NDVI. Okay, right? But there are live trees kind of interspersed between these things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make sure to not tag the live trees as dead trees, right? So I'm going to use this. Okay, flip back and forth. Okay, I'm going to tag the brown and the reddish part. Okay, and so let's click on that. Right, so, and this is where it's going to take a long time because these are like interspersed between things. Okay, so this one I'm pretty confident is brown. That part up there is also brown, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on here first, right? Click on this part first and then add that shape later. Okay, So another dead trees is dry grass. Sorry, green grass, dry grass. 4 is, and 5 is dead trees. Okay. Okay. And then this is also, this part is probably also a dead tree. So I'm going to box this one too. I'm going to have this additional little box on the side here. Right. And then tag that as dead tree 5. This part is also a dead tree. Right. Tag that as a dead tree. Take this little box all the way up here. This part is also brown, so I'm going to tag that. Okay. And so on. Okay. So notice that when I'm tagging the dead trees, I'm making very, very small boxes, right? Here's another nice clump of dead trees. Okay. So I'm going to tag this whole thing here. Right. I'm only circling. So if it's like greenish brown, then I don't tag it because that's like halfway between the two. Okay. So break that as 5. Okay. So now I have tagged like a little bit of 1, a little bit of 2, right, which is the green grass. You probably want to tag a little bit more than this. I think this is about be like 100 pixels. Maybe you try find another grass area like up here too. You can tag that part. I tag some 3s, right, which is the dry grass. You probably need to do a little bit more than that. Okay, so there's some dry grass area over here. Another nice area for dry grass, or maybe all the way out here, right, wherever you see, the road, and then there's some, dry, this is probably dry grass area. This is probably sand here. This is so white, it's probably just sand. Okay, so don't tag these as dry grass. This is probably sand here. Okay, the grass is going to have, some color variations in it. So like, this pixelation, right, shows you that, oh, there's some grassiness to it. Okay, and this is probably dry grass also. This is some green grass. Okay, right, very interspersed. This is probably some weird grass growth out here. So that's not a tree. Actually, I can check. Right, so let's see what's growing out there. So let's go to Google Satellite and see what's growing out there. Oh, it's these little mossy patches. Okay. All right. So what you want to do is tag about, maybe like an area around as big as this for each item. Right. So I probably need more dry grass tagging. Right, and more dead tree tagging. That's usually the one that's hardest because the dead trees, yes, I just show you up here, right? You have to really tag them like maybe like 5-6 pixels at a time. Okay, once you have that, what you want to do is rasterize the shapefile, because this is just some geometric shape, so it's not, dot by dot definition. So what you want to do is you click on raster, and then you do conversion, and you do rasterize. Okay, when you rasterize, this menu pops up here. Okay, and it tells you, well, what's the input? Well, by default, usually it's going to give you the shapefile that you're just working on. Okay, then you click on, well, what do you want to rasterize? What's the dots that you want to? What's the value of the dots? So we want to rasterize the ID that we just tagged. Okay, fixed burn-in value, you can leave that as 0. Okay. Okay, raster size units, what you want to do is you want to do georeference units, okay, because we don't want to just do pixels. And since this is a 1 meter by 1 meter resolution map, so we put the width and height to be 1 by 1 meter resolution. Okay, and then the extent, okay, meaning how big you want this map to be. What you can do is just click on this, click on this down arrow, tell it to calculate from the layer. And you can pick the original raster layer that you picked, right? This one without any NDVI and tag like that. That's the extent that you want to use, because you want to overlay that over the exact same map. Okay. Okay. Assign specific data with no data. You want to leave that as 0 because we're tagging 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if something is 0, then we still want that to be there. Okay. And then you don't want to save it to a temporary file. You want to save it as a real file. So when you do that, let's see. So this is, okay, I'm just going to type the name in HXIP underscore M underscore 37111955. Okay, and then Northwest 100. Okay, and then WTO tag underscore March 24. Notice that I'm using the same name as the shape file, but what's going to happen is that this is going to be saved as a TIFF file, so it's actually have a different extension. So actually it would have a different name, so that's okay. Okay, save. And then if you run, hopefully this works. Okay, if you close, well, after you run, it should be pretty quick for these small maps. Okay, you can close this. Okay, now, right, hopefully we have some rasterized information here. Nope. Let me go back. Okay, I think I found my mistake. So the reason I paused the video is because when I rasterized, this didn't show up. So when you have this layer on top, it should be displaying this layer, but nothing shows up here, the stuff we tagged. My mistake was that I did not save my tag file. Okay, so up here, right, when you click on edit, when you modify something, let me modify something real quick. Let's tag this little brown tree here. Okay, right, like that. That's a dead tree, so 5. Right, you see this little disk came up. Right, you have to make sure to save that. You don't have to close the file, but you still have to save it, because what happened is that the rasterization actually pulls from the file. It doesn't actually pulls what you have open. Okay, so since I made that mistake, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this layer because that's the one that I rasterized, didn't have any information on it. Okay, so remove this layer. Okay, I'm going to go through the same process again. Rasterize, conversion, rasterize, find the file. Okay, the value will be the IDs. Okay, raster size units is georeference units. Resolution is 1 meter by 1 meter. The output extent is calculated from the layer, which is the original raster. Okay, and then I want to save it to the same, well, this file name that I had before. So since I closed that file, I can overwrite this one. So I'm just going to save that and overwrite it. Replace. Okay. All right. So if you run now, hopefully this works. Yeah. Now it's different. Okay. Let me go to my little hand tool. Okay. So notice that, right, without that layer, right, these twos, right, this is what we tag by hand. The rasterization basically make all of this black, and black indicates, 2, basically. There should be some for 1 also, right? So this is all 1s. I'm not sure why there's a little gap here, but yeah, if you just have a few pixel gap, that's okay. All right. So once you have this file, right, this is the file we're going to use to input into the machine learning algorithm in order to train the algorithm to recognize house versus tree versus grass versus dead tree and dry grass. Okay, so I'll show you that on a separate video.